2 or 3 days ago, according to the papers and the media, Ahmadinejad was reported as saying that he considered the Holocaust to be false. And so branding him along with all the rest of the villains as a Holocaust denier. Well, of course, all that's a complete lie. What he actually said was something similar to what he said at the World Conference Against Racism earlier this year. Following World War II, the imperialists resorted to military aggression to make an entire nation homeless under the pretext of Jewish suffering, and they sent migrants through Europe, the United States, and other parts of the world in order to establish a totally racist government in occupied Palestine. And in fact, in compensation for the dire consequences of racism in Europe, no Holocaust denying there, is there? They helped bring to power the most cruel and repressive racist regime in Palestine. That's what he said. And it's doubly justified, actually, because if you follow the history, you'll read how the Zionists, who flourished actually in Nazi Germany, they kept their offices there, and in return for getting the anti-Zionist Jews to go quietly to the camps and eventually to the gas chamber, they were rewarded by letting the Zionist Jews come out to Palestine. That was the reward they took, and that was proved by the Kastner case in 1956. Now, I first came across all this business about Iran back in 1946. Now, I wasn't very old at the time, but I was away from school with a cold. So I was twiddling the radio, and I got through to the United Nations Assembly for some reason. And there the villains all were, the United Nations Assembly, they were one after the other, lining up to tell the Soviet Union to get its troops out of Persian Azerbijan. Well, I didn't understand what it was all about, but it sounded very menacing at the time as regards the Soviet Union. And remember, at that time, among the people who seemed to have changed their minds, a great feeling against atheistic communism. Anyway, I found out later on, just before I joined the Communist Party, and what had actually happened was during the war, the Shah had shown inclinations to Nazism. So it was agreed between the West and the Soviet Union, the Soviets should take over Persian Azerbaijan, and the British troops should move into the south of the country. And the Soviets duly did this, and they established a progressive government there. Well, they wouldn't establish a non-progressive government there, would they? When it came to 1946, of course, the imperialists wanted them out, and the Soviet Union at that time was in a very weak position, and it was eventually forced out, and the Shah's troops came in and massacred 50,000 people in Persian Azerbaijan, and then a different number in the Persian Kurdish Republic, which had also come under the Soviet Union. Now, that couldn't have happened on its own. What happened was there was work done at a lower level, and I'm indebted to a book written by a communist English writer. It's a fictional book, but it's based on fact, called The Diplomat by James Aldrich. If you can ever get hold of this book, this tells you just what happened at the time. And the situation was pretty reptilian in Persia and in Persian Azerbaijan. You've got these Islamic fundamentalists had got thoroughgoing control of the people's minds. And where the Shah did the killing from on top, the undermining from underneath came from the Islamists. And that was the reason they were able to get rid of Persian Azerbaijan and kill off the 50,000 progressives. Now, contrast the situation now the situation now is that in general, the Islamists are opposed to imperialism. It's changed over the period of 60 years. The thing has changed completely round the other way. No longer are they a reserve of imperialism, they're a reserve of the socialist countries and of the communists. That's what the actual situation is, confused though they may be. And this can be put down to one thing. A massive own goal by the imperialists, namely the establishment of the State of Israel. That the word got bound, and now there may be people who say, oh, Israel, the Jews need a homeland. Oh, let's have a two-state solution. But you try saying that anywhere from Morocco out to Java, and you won't say it for very long. You'll be lynched. That's what will happen to you if you say that. You can only say it here because it's a free country. Unless you have, as some Islamists say, that the British troops should be brought home in body bags, then you get 4 years in the jug. But it's a free country to say that the Jews have got a right to a homeland. It's completely free for that. Now that's the actual situation at the moment. And I was leafing through the Quran once. I was looking at my motives weren't entirely worthy. I was looking to see where this bit was about everybody who dies for the cause. When he gets to paradise, he's immediately presented with 72 eager virgins. Now, 72 did seem to be rather over the top, but I couldn't find the 72 eager virgins in there. But what you will find is that Islam is by no means a pacifistic religion. It says there quite definitely in a number of places, if anybody attacks the believers, it's a duty of all other believers to rally round and smite the non-believers. It says it several times. And it's not a bad idea. Now, then you come to, you won't find any AIDS. Not much of it anyway, you don't find it everywhere, but you won't find much in Muslim countries, because it's difficult to say whether you'll be lynched first there if you said that the State of Israel was a good idea, or if you were a sex tourist. I don't know, it's a toss-up really, which would get lynched first. And so there's very little AIDS in the Muslim countries. And then the other thing about the Muslims, you see, is that in a way they're natural communists. Not the way we like it, but if you're a poor Muslim and you're hungry, you go up to a rich Muslim and ask for food, and the rich Muslim has got to give it to you. He won't give you everything he's got and all that sort of thing, but at least he's got to do it. It's very good, I think, really. It's like the position Mao found in the countryside. Everybody was saying, aren't these peasants bloody ignorant? And he said, no, they're not, he said. It's a good thing that they're doing, lynching the landlords, even if they're not doing it under the right slogans. And he was quite right about it. So, finally, to finish up, when Hitler attacked the Soviet Union in 1941, Winston Churchill said, if the devil were to attack hell, he said, I'd feel it my duty to say a few good words for the devil on the floor of the House of Commons. And I'd like to say, if the Islamists are, on the whole, against imperialism, there's all manner of Islamists, there's people who've sold out, we know that jolly well, but on the whole, and in the mass, against imperialism, well, I think it's my duty to say a good word for Allah on the floor of the Stalin Society.